Have you ever noticed those ancient hand gestures, etched in stone, painted in icons, sculpted in the stillness of time? What if I told you? Those hand positions aren't artistic coincidence or aesthetic tradition. They're coded messages. Seals of power. Gestures so potent, they were once taught only to initiates behind temple walls and concealed chambers. You've seen them before, on statues of Buddha, in Orthodox icons, in sacred texts from India to Byzantium. But have you ever wondered why the same gestures appear across completely different spiritual systems? Why are certain fingers joined in precise ways, over and over, through centuries, continents, and cultures? These are not casual movements. They are called mudras, a Sanskrit word meaning seal, gesture, or energetic lock. And according to ancient systems of wisdom, they can activate your body's hidden currents, shift your state of consciousness, and even influence the world around you. But some mudras were not passed down freely. Some were restricted, considered too powerful, or too dangerous, for public knowledge. These are the forbidden mudras. And whether their secrecy was to protect humanity from misuse, or to guard a hidden elite, remains an open mystery. In this video, we'll unravel what these mudras really are, where they come from, and why certain ones were veiled in silence. We'll explore the science behind their energy, the philosophy that shaped them, and the practices that survived underground for centuries. This is not about blind belief. It's about unlocking what your body already knows, how to flow energy with intention. So, warm your hands. Quiet your mind. And stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you may never look at your fingers the same way again. Long before the modern world turned to pharmaceuticals and external fixes for healing and emotional balance, ancient cultures understood something fundamental. The human body is not just flesh and bone, it is an energetic system, a living temple of frequencies, vibrations, and flow. The use of mudras can be traced back over 3,000 years to ancient India, particularly within the spiritual systems of yoga, tantra, and Ayurveda. The Vedic sages saw the human body as a reflection of the cosmos, where energy, known as prana, flowed through invisible channels called nadis. These nadis, they believed, could be stimulated and directed through the positioning of the body, breath, and most intriguingly, the hands. The word mudra in Sanskrit means seal or signature. It implies something being locked in place, a gesture that seals in energy, intention, and spiritual power. But this concept wasn't limited to the East. In Tibetan Buddhism, in Chinese Taoist practices, even in ancient Egyptian iconography, we find similar hand configurations. They were seen as keys, precise movements capable of unlocking spiritual states, healing ailments, and altering reality. In esoteric traditions, the fingers were not just digits, they represented elements, energetic pathways, and even cosmic archetypes. The thumb, for example, symbolized divine will or the element of fire. The index was air and ego, the middle space and balance, the ring earth and stability, and the pinky water and communication. By combining or pressing certain fingers together, ancient masters believed you could rebalance the entire system, physically, mentally, and spiritually. But here's the twist: not all mudras were shared openly. Some were held in secret by spiritual lineages, hidden from public knowledge. Certain hand gestures were passed only from teacher to disciple, cloaked in mystery. These were not decorative movements for ritual, they were seen as powerful instruments, capable of influencing both internal energy and external conditions. Used correctly, they could awaken dormant forces within. Used improperly, they could destabilize the practitioner. It's no coincidence that similar gestures appear in early Christian icons, mystical Jewish Kabbalistic texts, and alchemical illustrations from the Renaissance. The idea of energy transmission through the hands was a universal language, one understood by sages, mystics, and initiates across time. So why did this knowledge fade? As spiritual systems were absorbed into dogmatic religions or filtered through colonial worldviews, the subtle sciences of energy work were dismissed as superstition. Sacred gestures became symbols rather than tools. And the body, once seen as a map of cosmic connection, was reduced to material mechanics. But the truth never disappeared. It was whispered in monasteries, preserved in hidden manuscripts, encoded in mudra like hand gestures on statues and paintings, waiting for those with eyes to see. And now, that knowledge returns. Because as modern science begins to explore bioenergetic fields, neuroplasticity, and the power of intention, the ancient practice of mudras is finding new life. Not as superstition, but as a bridge between the visible and the invisible, the old and the new, the body and the soul. To truly understand the power of mudras, we must first abandon the idea that the human body is just a mechanical shell. Ancient mystics saw the body as a conductor of energy, a living antenna capable of tuning into both the inner and outer worlds. In this paradigm, mudras act like sacred switches, subtle gestures that activate, direct, or seal energy pathways. Think of the hands as a spiritual interface. Each finger, each joint, each point of contact carries symbolic and energetic meaning. By forming specific configurations, you're not just making a shape, you're sending a command to your nervous system, to your pranic field, to the hidden architecture of your being. Let's begin with the basics. According to ancient yogic and tantric systems, each finger represents an element. Thumb, fire, Agni, divine will, transformation, life force. Index finger, air, Vayu, mind, direction, ego. Middle finger, space, Akasha, balance, communication, harmony. Ring finger, earth, Prithvi, grounding, strength, physical health. Little finger, water, Jala, emotions, fluidity, relationships. By joining specific fingers together, you are effectively modifying the balance of elements in your energetic body. This is not metaphorical, it's measurable. Studies in neurobiology suggest that certain hand positions can influence brain wave patterns, heart rate, and even electromagnetic fields around the body. What ancient sages called prana, modern scientists might now call biofield energy or subtle electromagnetism. But why are some mudras considered forbidden? In esoteric traditions, the word forbidden rarely implies evil. It often means guarded, withheld from the uninitiated to prevent misuse. Some mudras, especially those linked to energy manipulation, psychic activation, or altered states of consciousness, were taught only after a seeker demonstrated discipline, inner balance, and intent. Let's examine one such gesture, the so-called life mudra. In this configuration, the ring finger and pinky are pressed gently to the tip of the thumb, while the index and middle fingers remain extended. This seemingly simple gesture is believed to strengthen the immune system, awaken vitality, and even stimulate the pineal gland, a gland long associated with spiritual insight. From an energetic standpoint, this mudra draws fire, thumb, into earth, ring, and water, pinky, creating a harmonic blend of willpower, emotional balance, and grounding. Many practitioners report feeling a surge of energy or mental clarity after holding it for just a few minutes. Ancient manuals claim it was once used by warriors, healers, and yogis alike, to revive, to protect, and to elevate. Another powerful gesture is the air mudra, where the index finger is bent under the thumb, which lightly presses it. The other fingers stay extended. This mudra is said to calm the nervous system, relieve anxiety, and sharpen intuition. Esoterically, it symbolizes the subjugation of ego, air, by divine will, fire. It was often taught to those seeking to balance their inner storms or control restless thoughts. In both examples, we see a deep fusion of symbolism, philosophy, and embodied practice. These aren't random hand signs, they are keys to energy control, encoded in flesh. But here's what truly separates the initiated from the unaware: intention. A mudra without intention is like a code entered into a computer with no program running. But when combined with breath, awareness, and stillness, the effect amplifies. The gesture becomes an energetic prayer, a subtle technology aligning your inner world with the higher forces of the cosmos. And yet, this is only the beginning. Because certain mudras weren't just designed to balance energy, they were created to reshape consciousness itself. In the next section, we'll explore the deeper dimension of mudras, how they influence not just the body, but the mind, the subtle fields around us, and even the events of our lives. At a surface level, mudras influence the body. But beyond the skin, beyond muscle, beyond breath, they operate on a more elusive plane, consciousness itself. Ancient teachings tell us that the human being exists not only in matter, but in multiple layers of vibration. The physical body is just the densest shell. Surrounding it are subtle bodies, the emotional, mental, causal, and spiritual fields. In this cosmology, mudras are not just physical gestures. They are triggers that resonate through these layers, sending waves through your energetic matrix, unlocking awareness and tuning you like a sacred instrument. Let's consider a concept found in esoteric Eastern and Western traditions alike: the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Your fingers are microcosms of your entire body, each digit maps onto organs, emotional patterns, and even cosmic archetypes. This is why in Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, and Kabbalistic mysticism, the hands are treated like control panels. Press the right sequence, and you open energetic locks. Create the right configuration, and you can quiet fear, strengthen the heart, or expand intuition. These aren't beliefs. They're technologies, ones tested and passed on over millennia. Now consider this: in Orthodox Christian icons, saints and Christ figures often gesture with their fingers in symbolic postures. Some bear an uncanny resemblance to Eastern mudras. 2 fingers raised, 2 folded. The ICXC blessing gesture. Could these be remnants of a universal spiritual language, one predating organized religion, echoing across cultures through form, not dogma? Even in alchemical manuscripts, we find illustrations of sages holding unfamiliar hand positions, often within circles of symbols or beside coded diagrams. These weren't meaningless artistic choices. They were encoded instructions. But how exactly do mudras affect consciousness? The key lies in neuroenergetic feedback. The hands are dense with nerve endings and connected to the brain's sensory cortex. When you form a mudra, you create a feedback loop between hand, brain, and body. If done with awareness and intention, this loop creates coherence. Coherence leads to clarity, and clarity allows consciousness to move upward. Practitioners often report feelings of stillness of the mind, sudden emotional release, heightened dream recall, increased synchronicities, or even shifts in perception of time. This isn't magic, it's alignment. Your fingers become antennas, your breath becomes rhythm, your body becomes temple. Take the Earth Mudra, for instance, joining the ring finger to the thumb. This gesture grounds excess mental energy, stabilizes mood, and strengthens bones and muscles. But esoterically, it's the seal of embodiment, the signature of rooting spirit into form. It was often used by mystics to stay anchored during deep states of meditation or after out-of-body experiences. Now, what about the Sun Mudra, where the ring finger is folded into the base of the thumb and gently pressed? This isn't just a health booster. It's an activation key. Used traditionally to boost metabolism and circulation, it also awakens the inner fire, the same fire associated with the solar plexus chakra, willpower, purpose, vitality. It was known as the mudra of intention and transmutation. But here's where it becomes truly fascinating. Modern science has begun confirming what ancient mystics taught in metaphor, that we are electromagnetic beings. Devices like EEGs, MRIs, and ECGs measure the fields our bodies naturally emit. And those fields shift in response to touch, focus, and movement. So when we form a mudra, we're not just influencing bones and muscles, we're reorganizing energy, harmonizing patterns of electromagnetic coherence, and sending commands to the quantum field. The forbidden aspect of some mudras may lie in this hidden potential. Because if every gesture carries a frequency, then some postures may activate energies that we are not ready to handle, unless we are centered, prepared, and aware. Just like electricity, powerful when harnessed, destructive when misused. This is why ancient teachers emphasize not just the technique, but the state of the practitioner. A mudra in a calm, focused mind is a prayer. In a chaotic, angry mind, it may do nothing, or worse, stir imbalance. And that's the hidden lesson: the hands may form the gesture, but the heart charges it with meaning. In the next section, we'll step fully into the practical. You'll learn exactly how to prepare, perform, and integrate these mudras safely and effectively, and how to use them as daily rituals for balance, vitality, and inner mastery. So, how do you actually use mudras in your daily life? Unlike elaborate spiritual systems that require years of study or costly training, the practice of mudras is astonishingly simple. You don't need candles, crystals, or sacred oils. All you need are your hands. But these gestures, simple as they may seem, carry ancient power. Each mudra is a key. A sacred symbol drawn not on paper, but in the flesh. To perform a mudra is to inscribe a forgotten language with your own body. And like all sacred languages, it speaks in layers: physical, energetic, and spiritual. Let's begin at the beginning. Before you perform any mudra, awaken the hands. Rub your palms together. Slowly, then faster. Let the friction generate warmth, not just in your skin, but in your subtle field. In many traditions, the palms are seen as active energy centers, small suns. You're not just warming them. You're igniting them. Now, find your seat. Spine straight. Shoulders soft. Eyes closed. This posture is not about perfection, it's about alignment. When the spine is aligned, the central energy channel, the sushumna, becomes a living pillar of light. Energy can rise. Insight can descend. Breathe slowly. Rhythmically. In through the nose. Out through the mouth or nose. Let your breath become your anchor. And when you feel still, choose your mudra. Gale, air mudra, the dispersal of chaos. Bend your index finger. Press it gently beneath the thumb. Let the other fingers remain open and extended. This is Vayu Mudra, the gesture of air. Air, in esoteric philosophy, is the element of the mind. Thought. Movement. Imagination. Anxiety. By pressing the index finger down, you symbolically quiet the winds. You anchor mental movement. The thumb represents divine will, so when it suppresses the index finger, it is the soul calming the ego. This mudra calms nervous energy. It quiets spiraling thoughts. Hold it when you're overthinking. When the mind won't stop spinning. When you feel overwhelmed. It is like smoothing the ripples on the surface of a restless lake. Hold it for 5 to 15 minutes. And listen to how silence returns. Fire, Fire Mudra, The ignition of will. Now bend your ring finger. Press it down at the base of the thumb. Keep the other fingers extended. This is Surya Mudra, the gesture of fire. Fire is not just heat, it is transformation. In alchemy, fire purifies, dissolves, refines. By placing the ring finger, which represents earth, beneath the thumb, which symbolizes fire, you ignite internal alchemy. The inertia of earth is overcome by the spark of divine intention. This mudra awakens digestion, both physical and energetic. It helps you process not just food, but experiences. It burns away stagnation, fatigue, heaviness. It's especially powerful when you feel stuck, creatively, emotionally, or spiritually. This is not a passive gesture. It is a flame. Droplet, water mudra, the flow of emotion. Touch the tip of your pinky to the tip of your thumb. Let the other fingers relax. This is Varun Mudra, the water gesture. Water is the realm of feeling. Sensitivity. Intuition. It is soft, but strong. It flows, but carves stone. The pinky is linked to the element of water and the energetic center of expression. When joined with the thumb, divine will, the result is emotional clarity guided by soul wisdom. Use this mudra when emotions feel overwhelming or blocked. It brings moisture to dry energy. It soothes heat. It restores radiance to the skin, the aura, and the mood. Use it during full moons, during emotional healing, or when your energy feels dehydrated. Water always finds a way. This mudra helps you remember that. Seedling, earth mudra, the root of presence. Bring your ring finger to touch the tip of your thumb. Let the other fingers extend. This is Prithvi Mudra, the gesture of earth. It is grounding, stabilizing, nourishing. In your energy field, the earth element represents safety, structure, and embodiment. When the ring finger joins the thumb, you are calling your spirit back into the body. You are planting yourself, firmly, into the now. Use this mudra when you feel scattered, anxious, or disconnected. It strengthens bones, stabilizes emotions, and rebuilds your foundation. This is the gesture of coming home, to yourself. Milky Way, Space Mudra, the portal to spirit. Touch your middle finger to the thumb. Keep the rest relaxed. This is Akasha Mudra, the gesture of ether. It opens the channel to the subtle, to the intuitive, to the divine. The middle finger governs space, silence, and expansion. When joined with divine will, it creates a portal, a receptive silence in which insight can arise. Use this mudra when meditating, when seeking answers, or when you want to connect with the invisible realms. This is the mudra of oracles, mystics, and seers. It doesn't bring knowledge. It brings space, so that knowledge can arrive. Sparkles, life mudra, the circuit of vitality. Touch the ring finger and pinky to the thumb. Let the index and middle fingers remain extended. This is prana mudra, the gesture of life force. It activates dormant energy. It strengthens your auric field. It helps you feel vibrant, awake, and protected. This mudra is especially powerful in the early morning, or during illness, fatigue, or emotional depletion. It charges your field like a battery. Think of it as plugging into the divine current. This is the breath before the breath. The root of animation. Brain, wisdom mudra, the union of self and source. Touch the tip of the index finger to the thumb. Other fingers relaxed. Palms open, facing the sky. This is Jnana mudra, the mudra of knowledge. But not academic knowledge. Inner knowing. Gnosis. The index finger is the personal self. The thumb is the universal. Together, they form a perfect circle, no beginning, no end. This gesture dissolves separation. It reminds the body that it is soul. It reminds the mind that silence is truth. This is the mudra of sages, monks, and mystics. Hold it not just with your fingers, but with your heart. Crystal ball, final guidance, how to practice. Hold each mudra for at least 5 minutes. Longer if you can. But always, gently. Let the fingers touch like whispers, not like clamps. There should be no strain. No pressure. Only presence. Place the mudra at different energy centers for different results. At your heart, to soften. At your solar plexus, to strengthen. At your brow, to awaken. Track your experience in a journal. Note which mudras affect your dreams, your mood, your intuition. Over time, you'll uncover your personal energetic language, your own codex of transformation. These are not just hand positions. They are rituals in miniature. Living codes. They open what has been closed. They harmonize what has been fractured. To practice mudras is to step back into an ancient memory, one carried not in books, but in the body. You are not learning this. You are remembering it. You've used these gestures before, in temples long crumbled. In lifetimes long forgotten. And now, once again, your hands remember. So breathe. Sit. Begin. And let the sacred signs in your palms speak. Throughout history, the simplest truths have often been the most carefully hidden. In this journey through the art of forbidden mudras, we've uncovered something more than just finger positions or spiritual customs. We've revealed a forgotten technology, one that doesn't require machines or institutions, but rather the conscious engagement of the self. These gestures, passed quietly from master to student, carved into statues, frozen in sacred iconography, speak a language that bypasses intellect and speaks directly to the body, to the field, to the soul. They remind us that power was never external. That healing, clarity, and transformation were always within reach, literally. In your hands, you carry the keys to vitality, serenity, focus, and flow. You always have. The only difference now is that you remember. Perhaps that's why some mudras were silenced. Not because they were dangerous to the body, but because they were dangerous to a system that depends on disempowerment. Because the more you awaken to your own energetic sovereignty, the less control that system has over you. But now, that knowledge is returning. Not as superstition. Not as ritual theater. But as living wisdom, practical, grounded, and alive within you. So the next time you find yourself overwhelmed, anxious, unfocused, or exhausted, don't reach for what's outside you. Pause. Breathe. Bring your fingers together. Seal the circuit. Remember the code. And as you do, know this. You are not alone. You are part of a lineage, one of seekers, mystics, healers, and quiet revolutionaries who chose to work from the inside out. Thank you for walking this path with me. If this video stirred something ancient within you, if it offered clarity, wonder, or resonance, share your experience in the comments. Let your voice join the circle. And if you're ready to unlock more hidden teachings, forgotten texts, mystical symbols, and energetic truths that were never meant to be erased, subscribe, and stay close. Because what was once forbidden is now awakening. And your hands? They were made for this.